The top stories. Barbados reports increased drug traffic from St Vincent and Trinidad. Police tour Eden Lodge to talk crime. And the Windies board and players signal a new era of cooperation. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, September the 18th, 2014.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. Your news, your time, your way.
The latest annual United States Global Narcotics Report says there was an increase in drugs trafficking to Barbados from St Vincent and the Grenadines last year. The report says, however, that there were difficulties in coordinating with the authorities in Kingstown on joint counter-narcotics operations. Barbados also reported increased marijuana and cocaine shipments from Trinidad and Tobago, though successful interceptions at sea were said to have reduced the number of drug landings. The report grouped Barbados with 6 other independent Eastern Caribbean nations and said their law enforcement capacity was increasingly beleaguered because of 4 years of declining economic growth in the sub-region. A contingent of police officers has been touring Eden Lodge and consulting with residents on law and order concerns. The team was led by Inspector David Lewis, who said in the St Michael North community on Wednesday night that the police alone cannot solve crime. Inspector Lewis said officers had heard the concerns of residents and would look for ways to address them. Ignorance and carelessness have been cited as the 2 main causes of house fires, of which there have been several in rapid succession recently. Fire Officer Patrick Edwards put forward this view when he addressed a small gathering on fire safety at the St. Peter Parish Church on Wednesday night.
And I'm telling you that if you go into many of the homes right now, you can see somebody got a cell phone charger plug in and it dump on the carpet or up on the bed. Do you know what you're actually doing? You really know what you're actually doing? You are actually playing Russian roulette with your home, guys. Once you finish with the charger, what you should do with it? Unplug it. We got people that charging laptops and got a laptop charging on top of the bed. You know what you're actually doing? And under your laptop, you know they got the breathing pores. You will find that these things get so hot that you can easily have your sheets or all these things being ignited. Like that. These are the careless practices. That's why we're having so many house fires with carelessness. They're not necessarily deliberate. Ignorance and carelessness, those are the 2 major ones.
Elizabeth Watson made quite a mark at the UWI Cayfield campus, one that won't soon be forgotten. The former librarian was honored by the campus community with the naming of the Elizabeth Watson Audiovisual Unit. The room houses about 20,000 resource items, said to be a fitting tribute to Ms. Watson, who is credited with developing the largest audiovisual collection from 1979 to 2008. She retired on January the 31st after having been a UWI member of staff since 1968. Changes may be afoot for the CARICOM Development Fund, the CDF, which was set up initially to help the region's lesser developed countries, as they used to be called, and also industries under pressure. That may be changing because Barbados and Jamaica, once touted as the more developed nations, may now be willing to access funds from the CDF, which is based in Barbados. The fund's chairman, Alvin Hilaire, says it should be used to help the region rather than countries. The CDF dispersed nearly $42 million in loans and grants to eligible countries in the first cycle, which has now ended. Dr. Hilaire was speaking at a meeting of contributors and development partners here in Barbados. In sport, the West Indies Cricket Board and the Players Association, WIPA, have signed a new collective bargaining agreement and memorandum of understanding, confirmation that they may have put the days of constant bickering and court cases behind them. For WICB President Dave Cameron, the accords signal a new partnership, while WIPA President Wavell Hines says players will operate at a more professional level. Mr. Cameron also announced the introduction of the franchise system, which will start in November. That will see players from other countries eligible to play for Barbados, for instance, as in the CPL. WICB Director of Cricket Richard Pybus said this would help the region develop its best players. Barbadian Shakira Selman has been reflecting on her 5-wicket haul, her first in international cricket, that led West Indies women to a smashing 8-wicket victory over New Zealand at Warner Park on Wednesday. She said it was long overdue.
I think I was more consistent before we went on the field. Coach asked me to bowl a particular lane, and I think I did that for a majority of the overs. Honestly, I only knew this morning, right before we started, that I was going to be bowling with a new ball. It was a bit surprising, but I am happy with the way I bowl.
And finally, officials at a British school apologized for a homework lesson that had 11-year-old students reading about a wife severing her husband's penis. Claire Mullane, head teacher at Mortimer Community College, said the passage about the famous 1993 penis-severing case of John and Lorena Bobbitt in Notes from a Small Island by Bill Bryson was assigned as reading material by an English teacher who had not yet looked over the material. Apparently, she was supposed to have picked out a specific paragraph for the pupils to read rather than the whole extract. The assignment had been criticized by parents who said the reading was filled with filthy innuendos. That's Nation News for Thursday. For more, visit nationnews.com as well as YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. And get your Weekend Nation on Friday.